Ash Sarkar appeared on BBC Newsnight where they discussed various different stories. But it was the topic of shoplifting in which Sarkar brought the panel back down to planet Earth. This is Finkelstein's answer to the rise of petty crime.
I think over 10 years, we've allowed the policing of shoplifting to decline as a priority, partly because the amounts involved don't seem that large and the police are overwhelmed, the prison system is overwhelmed, the court system is overwhelmed.
And that's under the Conservatives' watch, wasn't
absolutely. It? And you know, I think I thought that was an increasingly untenable position.
Now contrast that answer to what Ash Sarkar says.
If you look at the most commonly stolen items from shops, number one is meat, then it's alcohol, then it's confectionery, and then it's baby formula. And that reflects several things, right? It reflects what's easy to steal, what you can easily conceal.
The feeling that everything's knackered.
I think it reflects the feeling that everything's knackered, but also if baby formula is becoming so prohibitively expensive that you'll happily buy stolen goods because it's cheaper, that tells you that there's something wrong. Baby formula, just to focus on that example, has gotten 25% more expensive on average over 2 years.
And this is why it's so important having decent people on the left platform in the corporate media, because, you know, they just platform out of touch wealthy Tories, and they seem to think it's, you know, bad behaviour of us working class and poor scum, you know, and that's where crimes are happening. And Ash brings up the real issue, poverty. I mean, the reactionary response is always to say, we need to look at policing. It's always to show the muscle of the state rather than look at the root cause. I mean, the stat about baby formula is absolutely astonishing. Now, from my experience going to the supermarket, you know, I'm seeing security tags on basic foods. I'm seeing it on meat and cheese. I'm sure you've had the same experience. This is not a sign of a healthy society. And given how the wealth gap between the rich and poor has exploded, it's all connected. Yet mainstream narratives really haven't changed over the decades. You know, it's through the lens of poorer people simply having less morality rather than engaging with, having less morality. That's why they engage with petty crime, not because it's out of necessity. Samuel, if you go to your local supermarket, is your experience the same? Food products now locked behind security tags?
Yes, the experience is, and I think this is quite a universal experience. I know that there are people specifically boycotting places that do that now, in terms of people just thinking it's a wrong approach, and will specifically seek out other places that do not have such a security-minded approach to locking things up.
Yeah, I've always said that, you know, look, we can't change society without changing our media, and I think it's good to see people like Ash Sarkar on the BBC, but we really need media that stands up for the working class of this country. I mean, you're also part of an independent media organisation. I mean, how important is it that we can challenge the corporate media?
Oh, this is very important. I think us in this space is realise that we're fighting against a massive machine. You say GB News, Curtis, you've been on that yourself, as you all know. Sometimes it does feel like you're up against a lot, but I think one of the advantages that we have in this space when it comes to challenging the mainstream medias and stuff is that we essentially have the truth, which sounds so very basic, but is also extremely radical in this age where you see so many people ready to lie for a check. I saw a post, it's very disgusting, and when I even think about it, but this post of Priti Patel standing there with Netanyahu and saying, "We, you know, this is our friend." You know, it goes to show you the depravity in our system. So, in a media ecosystem where that isn't seen as like so, you know, terrible, you know, our line where we call truth, where we, you know, hold truth accountable, power accountable rather. I think that is what sets us apart, and ultimately will give us those like views, the numbers. I mean, you know, for example, think about this summer and Defend Our Juries and the excellent work they've been doing. I was lucky enough to, you know, be working with Greenpeace at the time, and we did a lot of work in conjunction with other organizations and activists who confronted the, you know, would sit there with the signs saying they support Palestine action, and they oppose genocide. And the numbers on some of those videos were just insane. And I think it shows that people want the truth. They know that they're not necessarily getting that from outlets like the BBC and CNN or whatever. I think it was in the news this week that they're going to try and do some merger now with some more news
Yeah.
networks. It's just a continuous cycle. So our advantage in this space is our ability to speak truth to power, and I think more people are seeing that.